Well, good morning, kids. How we doing? Mr. Manning here, and just wanted to say hi. And we've got a couple of lessons for you, a couple of ideas when it comes to stress management, that type of thing. Right now, I'm up here. I wanted to show you a little bit of where I live in La Crosse. This is the rooftop terrace at the Bell Square. You can see behind me, there's a couple of grills. I like to come out here and cook for my wife Lori and I. We throw some hamburgers, some steaks. I actually do baked potatoes and do some other things out here on the grill. It's just a real pleasant place. Talking about stress, this is a nice place to come out, sit and relax. By the way, I want to also mention congratulations to you, all of you, for what a wonderful job you're doing when it comes to this really weird time in our lives, especially with school. We have never had anything like this where we wind up doing all of our work at home and you're going online, you're doing the computer, you're doing paperwork without the benefit of a teacher right beside you. And that in itself can be a pretty tough goal of things. But I want to congratulate you for all the hard work that you're doing, your folks as well, because throughout this time, we know that it's stressful. It's just something odd, but you know what? You're persevering, you're getting through it, and hats off to you. Well, I'm going to take a little break here. When we come back, we're going to go into what we call the club room. My wife likes to call it the party room because we've held a lot of our Christmas events there with both of our families. And we're gonna take that break, and we come right back. We're gonna take a look at our club room, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about some stress management. All right, we'll be right back. Well, here we are back once again. I want to talk a little bit about, as I mentioned outside, what a great job you guys are doing. Hats off to you. Keep up the good work. 2, maybe 3 weeks left at the most, and then it's summer vacation. Oh, wait a minute. Almost feels like we've had summer vacation, doesn't it? Well, let's take a quick look about stress and what's going on. There's stress, we sometimes know it as, for the older students, you might hear the word anxiety. Anxiety means that you're kind of stressed about different things. You're nervous, you're apprehensive. That's kind of a big word. But you're scratching your head, wondering what's coming next. Am I doing things right? Can I do it better? Am I doing enough? All kinds of things are going on in your gut as far as how things are working for you. You're not alone with this. The other day, my daughter and 3 grandchildren happened to stop by. It was Friday, late Friday afternoon, and my daughter was doing something kind of unique. She had Friday off, and so she decided that she was taking the kids on a field trip. They went up to Granddad's Bluff here in La Crosse and stayed up there, excuse me, for a little while. They went and saw their aunt and uncle, and then they stopped by to see Grandpa and Grandma. And that was pretty cool. We were able to sit outside at the terrace, as we saw earlier, and we had some pizza, and it was just kind of a fun hour and a half that they were here spending some time with us, since it had been so long since we'd seen them. Anyways, I talked with my 3 grandchildren. We talked a little bit about, what's been kind of stressful for you. Well, one of the things, and I'm see if these are the same that you might have. One was they're pretty worried about their homework. The 2 older ones, the 2 boys, they were, kind of nervous about what's going on. Are they doing things right? Just, all kinds of that built up internal concern. And I go back to the term anxiety. Maybe not comfortable. Maybe they're better off now, but when they first started, the online stuff and then having to turn things in, there's that comfort level, obviously, of having a teacher right there beside you or in front of you, where you can go up to them and ask them face to face, personal questions about the homework and about assignments and that. So there in itself created a lot of turmoil, you might say. not having that, it's kind of like not, it's that comfort, it's that safety net. That's the term I want to use, is a safety net. Having your teacher there, feeling that there's somebody that you can trust and go to. Another one, I think a fourth one here, it's that companionship, if you will. Your friends are beside you, you're in familiar grounds, familiar area. You get a chance to go outside with recess and play with your friends. A lot of great interaction going on there. And all of a sudden that's taken away. And, your routine is messed up, with things. And that's the fifth one, is the routine. Things are changed up, and, that can be rather tough on anybody. And it doesn't matter if you're in kindergarten all the way up to even staff. It's something what you've been used to, what you've known most of your life, and then all of a sudden you get thrown a huge curveball, and you kind of start scratching your head going, what gives with that? So what are some things that we can do? What are some techniques and so on that can give us an opportunity to maybe just kind of sit back and relax and stuff? Most of you probably know Aaron Rodgers for the Green Bay Packers. A few years ago, they were kind of in a rough road early on in the season, and one of the things that Aaron Rodgers said to the fan base for the Packer Nation was, just relax. And of course, then he went RELAX, and he actually did have something with that. Is that just take a deep breath. And of course, we know what happened with the Packers. I think they reeled off 6 wins and made the playoffs and everything. So he was confident in his ability and in the team's ability to come back from the adversity that they were facing, not having a great beginning of the season. That's what you're doing right now. You're showing a great comeback. You're showing some confidence. You're showing that stick-to-itiveness, if you will, of being able to get after things and do the job that you're supposed to do. And yet, we always still have those questions. But you're hanging in there. You're doing a wonderful job with that. So think of yourself maybe as an Aaron Rodgers when it comes to your homework, other things that take place, around the home, around the house, help out a little bit there, kind of, put your mind at ease. You're going to be okay. Well, one of the things, and I showed this a little technique, and I believe it was with the kindergarten and first grade group, and I believe maybe even the pre-K4, I think we did this. It's a breathing exercise, and one of the things that you can do, some people they might think it's silly, whatever, but you do this technique about 3 times in a row, and all of a sudden you kind of feel and here's what I would tell the little ones. Maybe, hopefully you remember this, but it was a 4-second, what we call the 4-second rule, and it's 4 seconds where you're breathing in, 4 seconds that you hold your breath, and then 4 seconds in release. And what I would do, and in the kindergarten group and stuff, I remember, and you guys did such a really neat job with that. It was a lot of fun to do. I would put up the 4 fingers, and we would breathe in. So if you want to give this a try, follow along. All right. So 4-second rule. There's 3 sets of 4. All right. Here we go. So 4 seconds. You can take 4 seconds to breathe in. And now you're going to hold. Okay, so 4 seconds in, hold for 4 seconds, and then 4 seconds blow everything out, and really blow everything out. Try and get right into that gut and let everything go. All right? Give that a shot a couple, 3 times. Actually, 3 times is kind of what's recommended, but it's breathe in, and hold, and then breathe everything out, blow everything out. And hopefully you do that 3-4 times. Next thing you know, you just kind of get that calming effect, all right? So that's something that you can do. That's a technique with stuff. Another one that you can do, you can visualize. What is it that you see that you want to have accomplished? If it's something around the house, if it's your homework, maybe it's math or science, maybe it's some reading. You're going to do a little story time reading, who knows what it might be, but you're going to visualize what is that end result. And with the end result, you want to have your steps in place. You can get to those goals, wonderful. If you're not quite there, again, step back, reassess, take a look. It's not something that you need to let it beat you up. Be optimistic about things. You know, it's not going to be long. We're going to be back in school in late August, September, I should say, and we're going to be back with our friends, back with our teachers. Just always being positive. Yeah, there's going to be some down times, but always, always see that silver lining, if you will. That's always something. My youngest granddaughter, who's in first grade, one of the things that she's doing is she calls a friend. Once a day, she picks, and I think she has a certain time. It's like after everything is done. It might be 4:30 or 5 o'clock, whatever it might be. But she calls a friend, and they talk about whatever the day was it had in store for them. I guess that's the term I want to use. So kind of look at that. Another thought is time allotment. You know, you're going to work so long on your math or so long on science, or you're going to read for 15 or 20 minutes, or maybe a half an hour. But in between that, take a little break. You know, get something to drink, have a little snack, go outside, walk around the house a couple times, walk around the block, get some fresh air. But give yourself, you know, kind of chunk out some time in there to give your mind a rest with what you're doing. Those are different things that one can do. Well, we're going to take a real quick break, and here's a little assignment for you. Here's what I would like you to do. When we come back, I'm going to talk about something that I learned from Japan, and I completely forgot about it, but I'm going to share that with you. That's what I have right here. But during this quick break, here's what I would like you to do. Take a moment, start at 100, and count backwards to 0 by 5. All right? Here we go. 100, 95, you go. All right, well, back we come. Did you get to 0? How long did it take? Well, you know, here's something too. I didn't want to stress you out with anything. But sometimes just taking a moment and having a little fun with yourself and you know, counting backwards like that, or maybe a daydream about something that's fun. Again, visualizing what's coming up down the road. Those are always some neat things to do. Well, I've been in Japan 5 different times, and it was dealing with wrestling. So Mr. Autumn would probably understand some of the things that when it comes to the wrestling. It was a great opportunity. I got to coach young wrestlers, elementary wrestlers from Wisconsin. I was able to take my 2 sons and my daughter at different times, 3 out of the 5 times that I've been in Japan. One of the things, and again, as I mentioned prior to your countdown, with 100 by 5s down to 0. This, I don't know if you can see this very well, but they have, the Japanese people had a technique, and I was introduced to this, I think it was the 2nd time that I was there. I don't believe it was the first time, but here's what they have. You've got, with your fingers, your thumb is kind of, I'll show you the technique in a second here. Your thumb is for worry, if you worry. Fear is index, middle finger is anger, ring finger is sadness, and self-esteem is your pinky. So here's what they would do, and I've got it kind of printed out here for you, and I'm just going to run through this real quick. But here's what they would do. if I'm going to work on my left hand first, just because I'm a right-handed person, so I'm going to do this. You're going to wrap your hand with your thumb around your opposite hand and the thumb. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going to squeeze. And what this is supposed to do is going to help combat emotions such as anxiety and worry. And so what you would do is you would just kind of sit back and just kind of try and be as mellow as possible, and you're going to squeeze. Now it's not as if you're squeezing a ton, but you're just going to squeeze, just going to kind of relax, hold in your lap, and just let your mind go. And one of the things, after about a minute or two, for some people, and this is what the Japanese wrestling family that we were at, having their son, when he would be getting ready for a match and stuff, after he's kind of warmed up, to help calm himself down, here he would do this, and just kind of watch and kind of drift, if you will. And sometimes you can actually feel like a pulsation, a sensation going on in your thumb or in your fingers. So then once you get done with this, a minute or two, then you go to your next finger, your index finger, and you're going to hold this, and you're going to squeeze, wrap your thumb around and squeeze, and that is supposed to help with combating fear. In other words, kind of help keep yourself calm with whatever is coming up in front of you. Good if it's a wrestling match, probably okay if you got a test coming up. And you're worried about that test. You kind of got some fear about how are you going to do. There's a little technique. Now, the middle finger, what you can do, again, is you're going to wrap yourself around. This helps to control anger and resentment. And now, of course, anger, you can get kind of upset with things, and this is one of those that will help. Squeezing the middle finger. Your ring finger, actually I have my ring on. This is to help fight depression, sadness. It helps you to be more decisive in decision making. And so this is kind of a three-part situation here: depression, sadness, and decision making. Boy, that's something right there. So I might take a little more time on this one, but it's really easy to become sad. Missing people, missing the teachers, missing your friends, maybe not understanding the homework. So again, just sitting back, relaxing, knowing that you can do the job, and knowing that it won't be too much longer. We're going to see our friends, and we're going to be back into the regular groove of what we're used to. That's always helpful. So again, keeping an optimistic look. Then your pinky helps to calm anxiety. It increases optimism, and it increases confidence, knowing that you're going to get that job done. So worry, fear, anger, sadness, and self-esteem. Try that technique a little bit. You do that with both hands, and it might take 10 minutes. We'll see. Give that a shot. Well, let's see. We got a couple other things, quick things that we can do here. Maybe play a game. I've got another little technique that should be interesting. Let's take a moment. Let's see. What can we do? Oh, here's a tough one. Well, maybe not too tough. It'll be quick. Count backwards, starting with 100, but let's try by 15. That makes it a little more difficult, doesn't it? All right, so it's 185. Go. Okay, well, did you get down to 0? A little bit different using 15, isn't it? But I'm sure you did a great job with that. Well, here's something, and you're probably looking like, what does Mr. Manning have there in front of him? I cut up a couple 3 lemon wedges, and this was something that I thought was kind of interesting. So it's going to be a fun little experiment. Who knows, maybe even someday next year we'll put this to a challenge. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, or if I'll do the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. But this might be a fun little lesson. And we've got to include the teachers, right? Of course. So here's what it is. I was reading, and I just got my notes here because I want to make sure I have this one right, because I just got such a kick out of the article. But there's a young lady, a young golfer from Denmark, over in Europe, of course, here. And what they said was that she likes to chomp down on a lemon wedge. And what she does is she does this to help her get her focus away from any stress or any anger that she might have. And of course, I don't know about you guys, if you're playing golf, maybe some of the staff play golf. I can tell you my golf game, ouch. So I am a little bit competitive and competitive against myself. And so I can see where people might get a little stressed out in a golf game. But let's take a look here. It says the young lady from Denmark will chomp down on this. And I'm thinking about this. Wow, really? This could be interesting. Here's what happens. Here's your science lesson for today. All right? It is known that lemons contain an ingredient, a mineral called potassium. Now, potassium is great for a lot of things. You'll find potassium in bananas, runners, people that work out quite a bit. They'll take the potassium. They'll eat bananas. You watch people that are on these 5K or marathon runs and so on. At the end, they'll have all kinds of bananas because you want to get that potassium back into your system so your legs, your body doesn't cramp up and all that. So big thing going on right there. Lemons, same situation, maybe not quite as much in potassium as a banana. I don't know that for sure, but it does help relieve anxiety. Potassium does. And good for me, it reduces, it reduces blood pressure. Now, that might be pretty good for your friends that are a little high strung, right? So give them one of these, see how they like it. All right, also lemons are known to ease joint, muscle pain, and aids in digestion. How about that? Well, let's give this a try. Let's see if you can keep a straight face while enjoying a fresh lemon wedge. So you don't have to do this right now. I'm gonna give it a try, see if we can do it, see what happens. I've had anxiety trying to figure out what in the world I was gonna talk to you guys about. Boy, it almost makes me nervous thinking that this could be kind of sour. Well, let's see what happens. All right, we're gonna just give it a chomp. Wow, that had some seeds in it, and it's sour. Not bad. Here's what I'd like you to try to do, is try to make sure that my lips don't curl up. Anyways, let's see if in our experiment down the road here, sometime over the course of next year, I can see a seed in here. I'm probably not going to get to it until I chomp down on it again, but we'll give that a try. Anyways, we'll try and do this sometime as a little lesson next school year here coming up. Should be a lot of fun. And of course, the contest will be make sure that we can keep a straight face, see if we can do that. All right? You know, it's just such a real pleasure to be able to come to you today with this, and I wish all of you the best when it comes to the remaining couple weeks or so here of school. Hang in there. As I said, you're doing a terrific job with things. Keep up the good work. Stay positive, stay healthy, stay well, and personally, I look forward to seeing all of you in the upcoming school year. We'll probably have that back to school night. Certainly hope so. And we'll start enjoying each other's company once again. All right, you guys take care. Here we go. One more time. See if you can count back from 100 to 0, oh boy, let's cut it in half. Buy sevens. Good luck with that.